Okay, so let's start with some context and then we're going to roll right into it. So, high level, like share the path in your mind that led you to Philz Coffee.
Okay. Going back, rewinding the clock, born in India, raised in Texas my whole life. Undergrad UT Austin, I'm a Longhorn. My MBA UT Dallas. Post MBA in finance, I went to work at Kinko's.
Mm-hmm.
Not many people remember that name. It's now FedEx Office. And I worked with an amazing group of leaders there. A lot of them are CEOs of companies today. Very, very, really, really thankful for my 5 years there. But since Kinko's, since FedEx Office, I've spent the last 20 plus years mainly working for private equity owned companies. Um, and I've come in on the leadership team and helped turn around companies, scale them for growth, and then I would go to the next company. I've done a successful healthcare turnaround, a successful trucking logistics turnaround. For the past more than a decade, I've been in the restaurant multi retail space. For 5 years, I was at CEC Entertainment, parent of Chuck E. Cheese's and Peter Piper Pizza. I was there for 5 years as well. Again, another company where I'm very fond of my memories. When I say the words Chuck E. Cheese, people smile. They remember Chuck E. Cheese and the birthdays.
Sure.
Um, and the reason I'm so fond of my time there, one key reason, I met my wife there, an
At
LSU grad.
Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah, an LSU grad like yourself. We're married now and have two little girls, a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old. So girl dad all the way. Left CEC Entertainment right before the pandemic in 2019, went to Wingstop. What a company. And it still is an amazing brand. I was at Wingstop for 2.5 years. I loved my time there. It was a great time to be at Wingstop.
Yeah, it was.
They were years ahead of everybody on the tech forefront with an amazing
Sure.
app,
Agreed.
amazing digital experience. I was the chief operating officer leading our corporate and franchise stores. I was also the CDO, chief development officer. Loved my time at Wingstop. In about July of 2021, I received a call from the folks, the owners of Philz and the private equity company that owned it at that time. And they said, hey, we've got this company. We read about you. We're looking for a CEO that can come in and help us turn it around and scale it for growth. And, I was super happy at my time at Wingstop. I was like, yeah, I'm not leaving. I love it. It's an amazing company. The recruiter convinced me to come out to California for a day and give them advice on what they think they're doing great and what they think they need help with. So I went out to California 2 Saturdays later, told my wife I'm going for a day trip. I literally came home at midnight and I whispered in my wife's ear as she was half asleep, can we move to California?
My God.
And so here I am. What did I see that day? I saw two things that I think just blew my mind away. I thought Philz had the best coffee I've ever had. And up until that point in my life, I only drank Starbucks.
Sure.
And I had Philz and I was like, wow, this is really good. And the second thing I saw was a culture. I mean, I walked in one of the stores, Josh, and people were dancing. They were happy. I think at my third store I visited, I applied for a job and I was like, why are y'all so happy? And they were like, it's fun being a barista. I love my team. I love the hours I get. It's a good company and we get paid well and our customers are nice. I thought to myself, wow, you've got coffee and culture. I think everything else is fixable. And so I joined the company 3 short months later, and here I am September. So right around the corner, I'll hit 5 years. And it's been an amazing journey. A lot of ups and downs, but more ups than downs. It hasn't been a straight line, but it's definitely been a fun one. So
And I would ask you, like, as you go through it, like, I'm able to look at my career and I've spent most of it in this industry doing different things in this industry. But I've always kind of been doing the same thing. And I've always been kind of doing the same thing with the same worldview. And I think that it's that worldview, that expertise, that outlook that gives me a competitive advantage. And so I would ask you, like, when you look back on your career, like, what is that perspective or that expertise that makes you uniquely qualified to succeed the way you have?
Um, I think the number one thing is I've never viewed anywhere I've worked at as a job. I'm a firm believer in anything you do in life, you have to truly love it. And when you love something, it's not always going to be great times, right? There's going to be some hard days. There's going to be some not so fun days. But if your good days are better than your bad days and things are trending up, and so I'm a big believer, you got to be passionate. You got to love what you do. And I think that's been my North Star and making sure you're having fun and love what you do. Because if you don't, then you approach it like a job. And then you start thinking, when is my shift over? When's my time up? And I think as I think about Philz or any company I've been at, I try to guide it with, do you love what you do? Are you enjoying what you do? And if you do, then don't think about it as a job. Think about it as something you really want to be here and give your heart to.
And so, you look at the businesses that you've turned around, and this one is no exception. And it's one of those things. It's very interesting. So, like as a consultant, as a coach myself, one of the things that I say consistently is like I never give the client what they ask for, because if they knew what to ask for, they wouldn't need me, right? The goal
True.
is to give them the outcome that they're requesting, and you're able to do it through your unique worldview. So when you look at these turnarounds, what's the delta between what they're asking for and what you actually think most of these companies need to turn around?
Yeah, like for example, at Phil's, when I joined 4.5 years ago, I'll never forget. I went to our board of directors and our founder and I said, "Hey, what are the goals y'all look at? What's success?" And they handed me this Excel file that had like 87 things on it, and I was like, "Wow, this is a lot. 87." And I looked at it for a while, and I think I went to row 11. And I just like delete. You can't be successful when you focus on 87 things. You got to focus on 5, 6 things and do them really good. And I think in a lot of the companies I've worked at, what made them successful, what enabled them to turn around and scale for growth was, did they have a hyper focus on what's important and what do we need to do to grow the company? And for me, and every single company, it started with people. It started with your people. And if you didn't have the right people, you were never going to win.
And so when you walked into Phil's and you say people, are you looking at line level employees? Are you looking at top tier leadership? Everything in between? Where do you triage?
Yeah, I think I want to say all the above. So it has to be your frontline team members, or what we call baristas, but it also has to be the team at the top, because the team at the top are the ones that sets the tone for the whole company, as you well know. And so at Phil's, I joined the company for two reasons, right? The coffee, which I thought was amazing, and I thought the culture in our stores was amazing. It was when I went to, I would say your leadership team is where I had to look at the leadership and team and say, who's right for this company if we want to turn it around and scale it for growth. So for me at Phil's, it actually started at the leadership team.
And those are hard conversations.
Very hard. I mean, no one wants to have them. People shy away from tough conversations. I'm definitely not one to shy away. And I rewind the clock and I say, hey, is this something you're really passionate about? Do you want to be here? If you could tell with people, and sometimes people don't. They don't have the passion. They've lost the passion, and that's all right. That's totally all right. You do want to treat people kindly and fairly, so you can make those decisions very carefully, because these are people's lives you're dealing with.
Here's what I think is interesting about Phil's, but coffee in general. When you look at the other things that you were in, Kinko's is a great example, right? Like Kinko's went out of business because everybody had coffee machines in their house, right? So look at Phil's as a true equivalent. Literally 100% of the people that patronize Phil's have coffee at their house. So they're not paying you for coffee, right? That is not what they come to you for, because they have it at their house. And it's way more convenient to have it there. So if they're not coming to you for coffee, which is in the name of the business, what do you think they're coming to you for?
Yeah, I like to frame it with the three C's, right? They're coming to Phil's for coffee, which, as you said, they can make at home. and I make coffee at home 60% of the time. I
Sure.
think two other key things they come for is the connection. And I think Phil's does a really good job in connecting with the customers that come in. And then third key C is community. We have a community like no other. One of the things the founder left me with that I'm really appreciative of is we treat our stores like grandma's living room. We want to welcome all. While a lot of other coffee shops were downsizing, getting mobile only stores, we didn't shy away from having that community. Our stores have areas where customers can sit. Our baristas, we have a badge for our mid-level management, which we call team leads, where the badge is called community, where we want to get to know Josh, who comes in and gets that medium blend to Sora. And how's your daughter doing, Josh? And that's one of the things I love the best about Phil's is that connection and community that you can't get when you're just having that coffee at home.
The Chisora is great. I'm a patron. It's one of the reasons I was excited to chat with you. It's a really great blend. One of the things that I think is very interesting about the brand, and so like, the genesis of a cult is culture, right? Like in that culture translates. And one of the best ways to do that, I think, is through common language, right? And so, one of the ideas that I love is this idea of like Phil's way, right? And that you're able to actually turn around and give people the opportunity to enjoy it in the way, at least as it's presented, right? The founder would enjoy the coffee themselves. Talk to me about how you guys are leveraging that as a tool for enrollment.
Yeah, so Phil's Way, it's a way to order, right? When you get it Phil's Way, it means you want your medium sweetness and medium cream. And I love talking to our customers. I love being at the cash register, and a customer comes up and says, "Give me a Tesora Phil's Way." And I'm like, "Oh, you're a fan. That's awesome. Would you like it?" It's a little bit easier to have that interaction because I'm not walking them through the menu. Or they could get it Houseway, which is insider lingo for sweet and creamy. Those kind of connections with our customers are just so important. It's that historic lingo language that we love. Um, Shifting to loyalty and like rewarding our customers for having that love. Um, like I said earlier, since my first day at Phil's, one of the things I love to do the most is read our customer comments. What are our customers saying about their experience? Um, and I do that's one of the first things I do every morning is read our customer comments. And the number one thing our customers have said and asked for is I want to be rewarded. I want to be rewarded for being a Phil's fan, for knowing
Sure.
Phil's way or House way. And so we took that passion, we took that words of encouragement, and I believe we've created an amazing loyalty rewards app. And we're super excited because that's going to take all those customers who order Phil's Way or House Way and get them into super fans. And so we're excited to bring loyalty rewards to our customers.
Can we unpack that for a minute? I think this is a really interesting conversation. So, the paradigm shift for me as a restaurateur was that I stopped looking at my competition and I started looking at like what's standard practice in other industries. Like, what are people doing much better than me that has been proven to work over the course of decades? And so, like, when I say who has the best loyalty program, who has the best rewards program, it's American Express, it's Chase, it's credit card companies, it's not restaurants, because it's not built on transaction. What it's actually built on is status and access to into the inaccessible, which is really what people want. You know, I always go back to this experience that I had at a fast casual concept that will remain unnamed, but you probably had the same experience. I'm at the counter, I order my salad, they ring up the salad, and they're like, "Oh, you're entitled to $5 off because you're a loyalty member." And I said, "Yeah, okay, sure. Like, do you want to use it?" I was like, "Oh, okay, sure." But like, it didn't work. It didn't change the way I see the brand. And I know how much that salad costs to make. So now they just paid for me to eat a salad for no reason because it didn't inspire frequency. It didn't inspire loyalty. It didn't change the way I saw the brand. It didn't motivate me to go in. It was just like, it was a waste for everybody. And like, I'll take it, but I don't love it. And I feel like that is where we are. That is status quo for our industry. So, how do you reimagine loyalty as a tool for identity and a tool for frequency?
Yeah. I think I'm in every loyalty app possible.
Sure,
You
I
name
get
the
it.
restaurant, I join the loyalty. And I do that for two reasons. One, being a consumer, I love the discount. I mean, who doesn't like a discount? Who doesn't like that $5 salad? But two, it's to learn how other companies like increase frequency, create a greater attachment to the brand. I think two ways our rewards app, our loyalty, is very different than everyone else. And I challenged the team when they did this. One, we're auto sign up. Like you order a digital order, you are in our loyalty. All you have to do is hit enter. There's no I need to enter in all this information. So we auto enroll you, which is very different than everyone else, as you know. I think the second key thing is I don't know if you've had a chance to use our mobile app. You're a customer, so I think our mobile app is it. It's probably the third reason why I joined Philz. It's one of the most amazing apps I've ever used, and I've been a part of some brands that had some amazing apps. Right? I think our app makes up over 40% of our orders, and it's literally. I think it's the only app I've ever seen that has the digital to human connection to where when you order, it says, go see Josh to pick up your order. And one of the cool things about our loyalty is when you're getting your drink and Josh is making that order, after the experience, you can go in there and tell Josh, thanks for making the drink. Love the drink. And so ours is more about, while there is definitely the frequency component of loyalty, it does further follow our community coffee connection. That connection, connecting with the brand, a digital to physical experience. And not every reward program does that. So, for example, if I'm getting my burrito, I mean, it's just ordering the burrito and then I get points, those points towards a free chips or chips and queso. Ours is a little different. Of course, it has the rewards component to it, but it has that overlaying community and connection, which I don't think many, or I don't think any rewards apps have. And so that's something that's just special about Phil's, and it really fits within the brand.
And I think it gives people a reason to download the app, right? Because again, I haven't seen a successful brand scale through discounting, right?
I
That
would,
ultimately didn't collapse in on itself. And
yeah,
so, and I don't think that people have a loyalty problem. I think that they have a memory problem. I think that, like, what would it take for your favorite restaurant to convince you to come back? Just remind you that they exist, because you never think about your favorite restaurant because you're a busy man. And so, I think that it's about triggering the memories. And so I think that with the app, and it's what I like about the app, is it is experiential. It's not transactional. And I think that the rewards themselves take a back seat to the overall experience. I think that the struggle, and I work with a bunch of smaller coffee brands nationally, and the struggle is for you to go from like, I like this coffee, to this is my favorite coffee, to like, this is my coffee shop, right? It's that sense of ownership is what we're trying to bridge the gap between. And so much of it is about, to your point, like human connection, that you go in to see your people.
yeah. Coffee is a very crowded space. There's a lot of coffee players out there. You talked about talking to a lot of coffee shops, coffee owners. We at Phil's do our coffee very differently.
Yeah,
What
you do.
Yeah, we do one cup at a time. No one can say they actually do that. Um, you pick the blend, we do the cream, we do the sugars. We don't upcharge you. And so that's what makes Phil special in a sea of what I call the same espressos and lattes. And so it's super exciting to be here and be a part of that. And it's very different. And I think that's what makes us successful, is being a little bit different in the sea of the same.
Does it feel like a contrarian perspective? Right. It's and the reason I ask is a huge part of, let's call it, the coffee industrial concept complex is convenience, efficiency, right? For so many, it's this commodity play, right? Like it's not that you want coffee, it's that I want coffee and I want it in the next 45 seconds, right? And you look at Phil's and you guys are probably averaging a 6-hour ticket time on a cup of coffee, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's this,
A little bit less,
it's
a little
this,
bit less.
a little bit less. But it's a very intentional process. It is not an accident that it takes so long to make the cup of coffee. Um, but and I see that as a hurdle, right? But I also see it as a strategic advantage. Because what it does is it gives people an opportunity to experience the space. I was talking with I have these group sessions with my clients, and I was talking with everybody the other day, and one of the things that they were talking about was because one of them is just very, very busy. And they're like, we got to get rid of these lines. And I'm like, we could try and mitigate the lines, but like, there's no way based on the amount of volume that they have that they're going to eliminate the lines. I said, let me ask you, like, what is one of the biggest, best hospitality companies on the planet? And the answer is Disney, right? So you go to Disneyland, and what do you see everywhere you look? Lines, lines everywhere. But they don't call them lines, they call them queues, because the experience doesn't start when you sit your ass in the ride. The experience starts when you enter the queue,
Yeah.
right? And so, in that way, I love what you guys are doing because the line, the wait, it is part of the experience. And what I have found in my time there is I'm not watching people make coffee. The people that are making coffee are engaging with me while they are making the coffee. They're engaging with each other while they are making the coffee. And in doing so, it creates this unique category of one experience that I do think differentiates you in the market. And I don't say that to butter you up. I say it because in a world where everything is the same, it does read different.
I was one of the things I love to do is study the competition. What's
Sure.
this brand doing? What's that brand saying? I was listening to a coffee company CEO um, on a business news channel, and they were talking about how their model is drive-through, and they really focus on connection. And I thought to myself, come on, how do you focus on connection when you're 2 minute ticket times,
Right.
right? That's just not possible. Like there's no community. And while our ticket times, they aren't 6 hours, but they are,
No.
we do take a couple minutes to make your coffee because we're grinding the bean. We're doing it for you fresh, one cup at a time. It is that coffee. It's that community. And again, I hate to say it again, the community connection in store where we want you to have a good time. And it may not be that quick 30-second cup of coffee that you're wanting, but it's certainly, we try to make it pleasant and we want to make sure we deliver on the product so you're getting exactly what you want.
Well, something I think you've done a really good job of is drawing a line in the sand. Because if you want that 30-second cup of coffee, you're not going to get it, right? It's not like you've got a hidden Keurig machine in the back that when someone's like, yo, I'm in a hurry, you could be like, oh, don't worry, I'll grab a pod, right? That is not your business model. And I think that in the sameness, the reason a lot of these brands that I would argue have great products die is because they're unwilling to draw a clear line in the sand and say, this is who this is for. And if that doesn't fall in line with your values and your priorities, this probably isn't the right brand for you.
Yeah. I want to rewind you back 4 years ago. We didn't have any drive-throughs at Phil's. We now have
Right.
two, and we're getting ready to open a few more. And before we opened that first one, I was working with our executive team and our board of directors, and they said, "Look, a drive-through will never work at Phil's. People will never wait. It's too long." And I thought to myself, I said, my two girls, their favorite burger joint is this place called In and Out.
Yeah.
I waited 28 minutes for a burger. 28 minutes for a burger and fries.
We do it every
People
week,
will
Manesh. We
wait
do it
for the right
every
product.
week.
Exactly, right? So people will wait for what's right. And if you deliver a great product, they're willing to wait the extra 2 or 3 minutes. And that's what's important, delivering on the product.
So as it relates, but there are these core differentiators, like no espresso, no drip, right? That are counterintuitive. So like you're not rushing, You don't have espresso. You don't do drip. Again, it's they say that the riches are in the niches. Um, is it true? Like, because I think a lot of the people listening, they're always worried about the veto vote, right? This bastion from like the 80s and the 90s where like 8 people are in the car, one of them's a vegan, right? And so like nobody's going to Pizza Hut tonight. And so everyone focuses on having this holistic offering, right? That it's got to be wide and expansive so that we're able to give everybody what they want, that we're able to meet the expectations of people that engage in this vertical. Um, or it can just be an extension of self, right? I think that the question that you've had to answer is this niche large enough to support a national brand? And that's a gamble.
Definitely a gamble. I loved what you said, veto vote. It takes me back literally a decade, Josh, and I was at Chuck E. Cheese, and the veto vote with mom was they don't want pizza for their kids; they need a salad. So Chuck E. Cheese put in all these salad bars.
Sure.
So mom felt good when she would come in and order that pizza, and she could see the salad,
Sure.
but it
As
would
she was eating the pizza, right?
she's eating the pizza. And so, like the veto vote at Phil's, that's very interesting. So you're right. We don't have a straight drip. When you come in and say, "I just want a black coffee," we will get you one, but we will do it one cup at a time. We'll say, "You want a light blend, a medium blend, a dark blend," and so you can get your coffee that way. But it's not a minute. It takes 2 or 3 minutes, and your
Sure.
ticket goes in terms of where you were when you ordered. Um, and then things like latte or an espresso. I was in our East Vale store, and East Vale is an area of Los Angeles, Far East, Inland Empire. And we just opened that store a couple weeks ago. And customers would come in, and I'm at the register. Customers come in and say, "I've never been to Phil's before. I want a latte." And I'd say, first thing I would say is, "Love lattes, but we don't have lattes here." And before the customer could say, "I'm out," because that's the veto vote, because that one person wanted a latte, I'll say, "But let me make you something that's tastes just like a latte. And if you don't like it, let me buy you another drink." And I would recommend something like our Jacobs, which is a darker blend with heavy cream. Not once over my 5 years has anybody taken me up on that offer. And so if we can deliver on something that can meet their need, and that's why we talk the customer through our menu in case we come to that veto vote. That's what's important, is still trying to get what they like. So we'll ask them, "What do you normally get? Where do you go? What do you normally get?" And we'll walk them through the process so we can eliminate the veto.
I think we just fell in love. I'll tell you a story. So I owned a dive bar on Hollywood Boulevard called 504. I
504.
it was yeah. It's well, I mean, you get it. It's the area code for New Orleans, and so we had all of this whole cocktail list, right? Inspired by New Orleans classic cocktails, new twist on old favorites. It was amazing, but it was on Hollywood Boulevard, right? And so people would come in and they would say, "I'll have a Jack and Coke." And like the answer from the staff, because we trained them really well, was, "I'll make you that Jack and Coke. But before I do, let's do this. Like, if you like that profile, you'll probably like this. You paid $20 to park. You came all the way into this place. Why don't you try what we do for a living? And if you don't like it, you don't have to pay for it. I'll make you the Jack and Coke, and you don't have to pay for that either." Because you have to be a category of one. I tell my clients all the time, I'm like, if people come in and they just get a burger and a glass of water, like you're screwed. You're screwed. Like how could that's not an experience? How can you compete on that? They have to get the burgers and the fries and the shake, right? And they need to get it all together so it's a holistic experience. Because without it, again, like you just end up in this area where everything kind of looks and feels the same.
Yeah, I'd love to do it the way you just said.
Sure.
I like the way you framed it at 504, because that's exactly it, right? They came in, they something brought them through your doors.
Right. You are not at Starbucks right now. So like let's not have the Starbucks experience, you
Let's have
know?
our experience. Let me have you try one of our featured creations, like our mint mojito. And no, it doesn't have alcohol in it, but it does have mint. And so I think the way
Sure.
you framed it was great. And that's exactly what we're trying to do at Phil's.
Wait, what I'm talking about is I'm talking about, for the folks listening, I'm talking about advocacy, right? Sales generally feels like shit all the time. Nobody likes to sell. But I believe that sales is service. I believe that you're advocating for someone. I think that when someone comes in, they don't know anything about anything, right? And you know everything about everything that goes on in this place. And so, like, all they're going to gravitate towards is what is familiar. And I think that it's our job to advocate for the guest. To your point, and we used to say it all the time, especially in my fine dining restaurant, where I feel like people were afraid to speak up. We'd be like, have you ever been in before? And if they said no, we would say, like, this is why we think we're special. But like, let's get back to you. Where do you normally like to eat? What do you like to eat when you go out to eat? What are your favorite meals? Because I'm going to guide you through the menu to make sure that you have the best possible experience based on what you like and what you enjoy. And I think you guys do a really good job with that.
Yeah. Hearing you say that, I would love to work a shift with you because that's like exactly how I talk to our
For sure.
members as well as our customers. Because when I'm, working in our stores, I was just in our Pleasanton drive-through last week, and that's up north in Northern California. And customers would come in and they'd never heard about Phil's, and I'm like, "What do you normally get? You
Right.
like hot drinks? You like ice drinks? You like caffeine? No caffeine? Do you like sweet? Do you like non-sweet?" And it's having that 1 minute conversation, 2 minute conversation. You got to try this, and if you don't like it, it's my treat. And the customer, for example, the customer was like, "I like sweet drinks, not too sweet, and I want something just fun. You got to try our tiramisu drink. It'll blow your socks off. And I love it iced, and you will too." And it's like having that connection conversation with the customer to guide them through it is so key. The way you
And
describe
gratuities go through the roof. Your per customer average spend goes through the roof. Like I've seen it. I've seen the data at scale. I've done this hundreds of times at this point. Sales is service. People want to be sold. When you look at concepts like these, 80% of the people that come in are first timers. They don't know. And so we guide them through the process. I mean, in an independent, it's a little bit easier, but like I actually train my team to use like fearful language. Like we would say, like, this is what you should, like, it would be a mistake for you to dine here and not get the beef rib. So get it. If you don't like it, I'll throw it in the trash. But don't come here. Because you think about Outback Steakhouse, right? If you went to Outback Steakhouse and you got the steak, a couple of side salads and dessert, but you didn't get the blooming onion, like you missed the headline, right?
yes,
How was Outback? It was okay. Not like I wept into a blooming onion, right?
you got to get what the brand is known for.
For
And I
sure.
love it. For example, when you go to Outback, you got to get that blue onion. Well said. And when you come to Phil's, you got to try our mint mojito. That's what we're known for. And so I agree with you. I agree with you. And I love that term, fearful language. I may like try to intertwine that in my training because it is true.
It's true. Like, I think look, I think the problem with most restaurant marketing is that it just doesn't go far enough. I think that's it. I think you draw a clear line in the sand. Like, if you're going to come here and you're going to get a cup of drip coffee, like, you're missing the point. Like, that's not what this thing was built to do. Like, try one of the things that we're known for that only we do. And like, if we're able, and I mean, the rule across the board in this industry is like, if people don't like it, they're not going to pay for it. Right. So all I'm doing is revealing what is standard policy across every hospitality location on the planet. I don't want you to worry about it. I want you to feel like you can test, like you can experiment. Because I feel like if you can share something new with somebody, it creates like a reason, like an affinity. It makes you a category of one. Can
Yeah.
we talk about money?
It,
I want to talk about money.
yeah.
I want to be respectful of your time, but like there's so many things I want to cover. Um, let's talk about money. So, what I did for half of my career as a restaurateur was I made money one way, very inefficient, would not recommend to others. What really scaled the brands was we started making money more than one way. And so, like, that's what I do with my clients. And in coffee concepts, I love the dynamic nature of the business. So, like, when I look at the real drivers of profitability in the coffee concepts that I work with, it's gift cards, it's bagged coffee, it's catering for those that have the infrastructure to do it. Think more corporate B2B catering than almost anything else, like lunch catering, and then frequency. Like, I understand that like new guests are like the crack cocaine of our industry, but in my mind, like it costs as much money to acquire a new customer that's going to get a $4 cup of coffee as it does to book a $400 catering job. And so if it's the same amount of effort and it's the same amount of bandwidth, I would rather take the larger margin and the larger dollars. What is your approach to diversifying revenue?
Yeah. Phil's is interesting. It's you think of us as just a coffee shop, but we're an omni-channel business. We have three key lines of business which are pretty exciting, and each are growing at their own pace. So our main business is our retail shops, and we just
Sure.
opened our 81st store, and we're well on our way to 100 plus. And I'm so excited to continue to grow within California and soon start outside the state. Our second omni-channel approach is our website, philzcoffee.com, where you can get coffee delivered to you anywhere in the United States, and it has the exact same coffee we're selling in store, but online. And we have people in New York, Florida, Texas, all across the U.S. ordering coffee. And then our third omni-channel business is our wholesale business, and that's a little bit about what you said. Wholesale is made up of two components. We're in over 2,000 grocery stores across America. So if you're in Florida and you're in a Sprouts and you're going down the aisle, you will see Philz. If you're in Austin, Texas, going into a central market, which is a boutique grocery store in Austin and in Dallas and Houston, you'll see Philz. And then we also are in many office buildings across America. And so if you go in and you're working inside California and you're at the headquarters of this company, we serve Philz there too. So it's not just our retail stores and our coffee shops, which you go in and have that community coffee connection experience. It's those other two lines of business which are crucial to the success of Philz and building that awareness of the brand.
Do you offer gift cards or do you sell them? Do you guys have strategic like levers in place to strategically sell gift cards when the getting
Yeah,
is
we sell
good?
gift cards in our stores and online. It's a great way to Philz. Hugely popular during Mother's Day. Not
For
so much
sure.
on Father's Day, so we need to work on that. But
Is
and the
Father's Day
holiday.
even a holiday? I'm asking for a friend.
We don't get credit. We don't get credit. Credit. I think the study is like 10 times the amount people spend on Mother's Day versus Father's Day. So,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah. But yeah,
I just
gift cards are key. It's a great way to thank someone and get a Philz later. But yeah, we sell them online and in store.
and so when you look at 2026, knowing that I think the entire industry was down 18% last year, but also knowing that there are a ton of brands out there that are absolutely crushing it. When you look forward into 2026, what are the areas you're looking to win? Where are the greenfield opportunities that you see?
Yeah, I think for 2026, what really excites me, the first thing is something we talked about earlier, is our rewards program, loyalty. We've only been on it for 3.5 months, and we're just scratching the surface and understanding how our customers come to the brand and thank our baristas and connect with the brand. So there's still a lot to learn there. I think over the year we're going to learn so much more on how we can talk to the customer. That's one thing. Two, we're going to continue to own California. We're in 81 stores. We'll add another roughly 10 this year. And then the third thing that really excites me about what's ahead for 26 is we're going to plant a flag on where we're going outside of California. And so we are going to start having that national growth plan. It's going to be super excited. That is why I came to the brand 4.5 years ago. And so we're going to bring Philz to more communities near you. We're going to be very measured. We're going to approach it very carefully. When you open a new coffee shop, I think about all the team members we hire and the community we change. So I want to have measured growth, and I can't wait to bring Philz, whether it's Austin, Denver, Phoenix, who knows, Dallas, Houston. We don't know yet, but I cannot wait to further grow this brand.
When you look at that, so like one California restaurateur to another, probably there just aren't that many markets that are probably more difficult to do business in. California is super expensive to begin with. Also, some might say litigious. There's a lot going on in California. So when you approach other markets, are you looking at it from like both an expense and a potential revenue perspective? Like if it was me and I was to grow outside of California, I'd be like, let's force rank all of the tip credit states. Let's start there, right? Because you're paying what, $20 an hour to a barista in California, and that could be $2.13. And how does that change the trajectory of the company?
Yeah. My whole career, I was told by all the great people I work with, stay away from California.
Yeah.
High barriers to entry, litigious, high wages. And what did I do? I did exactly what your mom told you. I touched the hot stove. I went and came to California and led a coffee company. But California is great. I mean, fourth largest economy in the world.
Well, I'm here too. Don't need to sell me on it. I'm not going anywhere, my friend.
Right? Highest wages in America,
Sure.
Which is awesome in terms of taking care of your frontline workers. And look, I feel like North California is a different state than SoCal.
Sure, I would agree. So would they.
The way I view, yeah, exactly. The way I view it is if you can succeed in California, every other state, the mindset is different. Now, you may not have the same average unit volume, and
Sure.
we have very high average unit volumes within the state of California. So we need to, ratchet down those expectations. But I maintain if you can succeed in California, it's about going to the next community outside the state that's just right for your brand. So do you have high awareness? Do the customers that come to your stores in California, are they like customers in that community? And that's how I'm approaching it. We're really, really excited to start that growth in 27 and beyond. And I think it's going to be super exciting. The number one thing I hear from Philz fans now that they got their rewards, is when are you coming to my state? When are you going to come here? And so I can't wait to start fulfilling that dream for many of our customers that come to our stores today.
You do this long enough and you figure out 600 interviews in that I don't know if they're successful people as much as like they're successful habits that when done consistently, ultimately lead to success. And I would ask you, like, what should we steal from you? What are the habits, the tactics, the tools that have served you well that we could emulate?
Yeah, I think the number one tool, the number one thing I'd like to leave your listeners, and you have listeners of all sorts. You have CEOs, you have people at headquarters at companies, but you also have people who work in stores,
Sure.
in restaurants. And the number one thing I want to leave is being a CEO, whether I'm the CEO of a coffee company, the CEO of a chicken wing chain, the CEO of an entertainment company, the answers to all of our problems are found in your stores. And so I always tell my team, I may not be the sharpest person, the smartest person, but I will work hard to get the answers in our stores and talk to our frontline team members, talk to our baristas. And I think that's what separates me, is I love doing that, because I think all the answers to all your problems in the home office, in headquarters, in those glass towers, the answers are in the stores. So get in the stores, talk to customers, make the product, try the product, and most importantly, talk to your team. And that's what I would want to leave all your listeners.